I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. Ellwynbrook joins us. Hello.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Ellwynbrook. I am a vampire scientist VTuber who may or may not steal a finger in your sleep.
Well, that's okay. I've got 10. You can use one of them. One of them's not very good. You can have that one. Experiment all you want. If you get it to work, bring it on back.
I'll get right on that.
I do appreciate that. So a vampire and a scientist. So that gives that kind of gives you excuse to draw blood, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I can just say, "Hey, it's for science," and everybody suddenly believes me.
Yeah, that's a pretty good scam deal you've got going on there. Right? I say you thought well ahead in getting that taken care of. When did
you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right. When did you get started with the VTubing thing?
So it's actually it's not that long of a story. When I was younger, when I was about 16 years old, I wanted to dip my toes into streaming. Mm-hmm. And I decided to do my first face stream when I was like 16.
Oh.
And unfortunately, the only response I got from my chat was about my appearance. And as a young girl who had self-esteem issues, it didn't do much for me.
Yeah.
So basically, now that I'm older, an adult now, and like I've kind of developed a sense of self, I didn't want that to be torn down, but I still wanted to stream. Mm-hmm. So I went in and I thought about it, and I was like, how can I stream without, being judged for only my appearance? Because that's unfortunately something that a lot of women have to deal with as streamers.
Yes.
So then I discovered VTubing, and I was interested, and I had some funds saved up, so I was like, okay, well, I think this is a perfect way to kill two birds with one stone. I can start streaming, and at the same time, I don't have to dedicate hours a night getting dolled up or choosing the right outfit, making sure I look good. I can just be me without people nitpicking my appearance. I would much prefer people look at a animated model than anonymously call me ugly or something.
Besides, as a vampire, you probably do have to hang upside down every once in a while, and it's probably tough to get the camera at the right angle.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's just easier to do it this way. But really, seriously, it is a chance for folks who have been burnt by that to kind of recover a little bit and still do what they want to do and kind of show people what they're made of.
Absolutely, and I like being well. Not unfortunately, but I've crossed that threshold of IRL versus VTuber. But at first, I was excited about being anonymous and just in case people get creepy. But it's still kind of anonymous because I get to hide my general background of my home too, which in my opinion, it separates a part of my life that I just don't want other people dealing with.
Yeah. Well, that's smart in this day and age. If you've got any reservations at all, you should do that if you can. Even back in the radio days, I tell people that old disc jockeys used to change their name on the air, and you never saw their faces, and they would sometimes change their personality to be on the air. So it's not an old thing. It's been around for a while, or it is an old thing. It's been around for a while, but just not in this particular form. And you get to take advantage of it, and you get to be yourself without being yourself.
Exactly. Yes. And it's the best part because, I know my personality in real life probably doesn't match a vampire too much, but in VTubing, who cares,
Just except for the blood part. That part.
Except for the blood part.
Well, when you got started back up again, was it tough to get back up on the bicycle after being, not a particularly great experience the first time up?
Not really. So I spent a lot of my life, kind of practicing a lot of public speaking and getting used to entertaining people and just making sure like I'm a clear, concise person with my words.
Right.
So taking away that layer of like, do I look good? Does like, is my room clean enough? You know, simple
Yeah.
things like that. It really made pressing the live button, like the go live button, super simple for me.
Yeah.
I had received nothing but support that night. I was new. I was still learning how YouTube Studio worked,
Right.
how to like manage all my toggles, and just learning OBS again.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was of course, it's a little bit difficult sometimes because you're still learning, but on the same token, it was fun, which
Yeah.
isn't something I experienced the first time, and I think made it a lot easier for me because I was having genuine fun.
Yeah. That's the biggest part is you're enjoying yourself while doing it, and some folks get to do this and it becomes a chore and they don't like it and they get burned out or something happens, something turns sour on them. How they have an experience like you did right off the bat and they're done for it. That's it. Um, but you've been able to power through that and get a good experience started and go from there, which is really cool. I mean, I'm glad for you.
Yeah, I'm super appreciative to the VTuber community. Whether you're small or like a ginormous VTuber, like there is an endless amount of support.
Yeah, there is. There's plenty of detractors too.
Yeah, for
There,
sure.
there's a lot of folks who like to put rocks in your Cheerios, but um,
Yeah, but I'm not gonna throw away a whole basket of good apples just because of one bad apple.
well, there you go. That's a good way to put it, and that's a really good attitude for someone who had a not particularly good experience to start with. So I congratulate you on that for sure. Um, Once you got back started and going again, was it easy to start interacting with an audience that let's face it, gave you the short shrift the first time around?
Yes and no. I ran into a couple scenarios where it seems like people can really point out your insecurities just by like seeing you.
Oh yeah,
And my voice is something I've always been a little bit insecure about just because it's a little bit lower pitched and,
it's a
you
great
know,
voice.
thank you, but like I've noticed that a lot of VTubers in the VTubing community have really cute, high-pitched voices,
Uh,
and I love them. I love them all.
mm,
So I compare myself to that a lot. And I feel like some viewers can sense that insecurity. So I had a couple of scenarios where, somebody would come into my chat and say like, your voice is like annoying, your voice is bad, and at some point I had to be like, okay, you can see that this gets a rise out of me. The
mm,
rest of my chat is being really supportive and really kind to me. I can't let this one person
mm,
ruin the entire experience that I worked so hard
right,
to build again.
right, and that's all they're doing. I mean, obviously, first of all, their opinion is dumb, and they should feel dumb about it because it's wrong. Second,
I
second,
appreciate that.
Second of all, that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to make the show about them, and
Hmm.
and tear down what you're doing, and just be anti to be anti, and that's just the lowest common denominator you could possibly get of trying to get attention to yourself. And it doesn't require any work experience at all, or just show up, be
Yeah.
anonymous, and yell. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. It
Um,
was a lot of like hardening myself mentally and being like, you're always going to get somebody that is trying to pull you down.
mhm,
And if you compare that to the amount of people that are supporting you, it's just like a little fly on the wall that you
mhm.
just got to wave off.
Yeah, or smash with a
That's true too.
fly swatter. Now, you can get rid of them. You ban them out. Get them out of there.
Exactly.
You don't need to have the raisin in your Cheerios. It can go. Raisins in general can go actually, but the fact that you're able to bounce back from it means you kind of obviously you've kind of matured a little bit into yourself and feel maybe a little bit more comfortable with yourself. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, I attribute that to my frontal lobe forming.
Mm. I like that a lot. Yes, that's Congratulations to your frontal lobe.
Thank you, frontal lobe, for finally giving me the confidence I needed.
So did you lift weights or something to get get it to where it is now?
I don't know. Eventually over time I was like, well, I've gained a consciousness.
Yeah. And hopefully a little stubborn too, because you do need a little
Yes.
stubborn to keep going.
Yes.
And so while you're online, what do you like to do?
So, the games I typically play most of the time, I'm a big fan of scary games.
Mm.
My personality and my bravery most of the time doesn't really match the amount of scary games I play
Oh.
because I end up crying out of fear when I play the scary games. But for some reason, I keep going back.
Oh my. You have no Pavlovian response whatsoever. You
Yeah, and so mainly I play a bunch of zombie games. Right now, I've been really into Red Dead Redemption,
mm,
just because nobody can like say it's not an amazing game. There was so much love and effort put into it that
right,
it draws everybody in.
right.
But like when I'm not playing Red Dead, games such as Dead Island, Left 4 Dead, and yeah, Resident Evil games even have zombies too. So I'm playing a couple Resident Evil games,
But they don't have dead in the title. All your other games have dead.
right?
You know,
They got to get on. They got to get on topic.
it goes right with the vampire thing. Everything's got to be dead. You've really bought into that.
What can I say? I'm a fan of the dark and morbid.
Well, it's great to see that you've got such a good attitude about it, given how you got the first foray you had into it, and that tells me that things are going pretty well right now. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I mean, I am so insanely appreciative of the community that I have started to build.
Hmm.
Um, my platform is small, but I consider it to be small and mighty
Mm.
because, everybody chats, everybody interacts. There's really never a dull moment in my streams just because everybody has gotten to know each other and enjoy each other's company.
Mm.
So again, small but mighty, and I love every single one, like every single person who follows me.
That's cool. Now, when you were younger, did you get into any type of performing arts or getting on stage, anything like that?
So when I was younger, I was a big cosplayer,
Mm.
and it's something that I'm definitely trying to get back into now.
Yeah.
Again, now that I have more confidence in myself, for a very long time I took a break just to kind of work on myself and build that confidence back. Just because social media is
Yeah.
so brutal, but I was a huge cosplayer, and I did a couple of performances in cosplay, a couple sing-alongs, a couple stage shows. So I definitely got that experience.
The reason why I asked about the stage stuff is because you have a very you have a very good voice, very good projection, and I was wondering if you thought about voice acting.
I have considered voice acting. I feel like my voice in particular has a very specific type of person it would be for though.
Mm.
Probably like, an edgier teenager or a middle-aged mom.
Mm.
But I've definitely considered it, and I would one day like to get a portfolio together
Mhm.
to show off what I can do. But that's in the future. I have so many projects going on right now, such as getting back into cosplay and
Mm.
building my VTuber platform. That could be something I could do on the sideline, maybe when I'm a little bit more established and comfortable with
Yeah.
all these projects. But yeah, it's definitely been on the back burner.
Yeah. Well, you got my vote for it because I think that your voice is very, very expressive and very, very clear, and the way that you speak with it is perfect for that sort of thing. I would hire you to make absolutely no money in radio if I could.
You know what? I take it.
I would hope you wouldn't, for your sake. You need to make
You
money
got to build a
somewhere.
portfolio somehow.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess, but you're going to be starving for a
Everybody
while.
starts somewhere.
Yeah. The what you've been able to build up right now with the folks that you have, you've been able to get your chat up to the point where you're interacting with them well. When you're on with these horror games, imagine a lot of them are very concentration specific. Does it make it hard for you to interact with chat when that's happening?
Yes and no. I think one of the appealing things about my streams is I don't really care if I die. I'm not one of those people that, will throw a controller or smash my keyboard if I die. Um, I'm just like my main priority is interacting with the chat and making sure chat is having fun.
Yeah.
Whether that results in me dying because I got a little too into talking to my chat, that's
Mm,
fine. I can always restart at the checkpoint and I can do it probably a little bit better because I know what's going on.
right.
So there have been instances in games where I've had and it wasn't Elden Ring, I promise. In like Dead Island 2 specifically, I think I died over 60 times just because it was just a whirlwind of gaming and my chat being there. And Dead Island 2 is where I specifically got a lot of the followers that I see repeatedly in chats, which is awesome.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's that your deaths, plural, contributed to your success.
Exactly. It's the appeal of it. I don't really get mad, and people find it funny when you die in a game.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, it's a great attitude to have. It sounds like you've really got it surrounded as far as that's concerned. What do you have any midterm plans for your channel? I mean, do you have a goal set up maybe for the end of the year?
I am officially on the road to 200 followers on my channel, which is so cool because I really didn't even expect to get like 30.
Hmm.
Um, on the books right now, I have a couple of models being developed just
Whoa.
because honestly, I've always loved character art, and becoming a VTuber was the worst financial decision for me because now I'm in a rabbit hole that I can't get out of just wanting more models, more attributes, and
Yeah,
it just snowballs. But
yeah.
yeah, on the books right now is more models. I'm getting um a couple more outfits going on, and then come November, I'm doing a complete outfit redesign.
Oh, so you do have this planned out for the end of the year. Is are there with those changes? Are there any different types of programming you'd like to put on the channel?
Um, so I actually do plan to start merging my real life with my VTubing.
Mm.
I've noticed on Twitter lately that a lot of people gatekeep VTubing as you have to be the straight VTuber. Like meshing IRL breaks the immersion, and they don't like that.
Mm.
And in my opinion, I don't really think that's fair because there's a person behind that VTuber model.
Hmm.
Whether the person posting or streaming is in character or not, they are still a person in real life.
Right.
And I want to kind of break that stigma that I have to solely be the science vampire 24/7. Sometimes I could just be redacted IRL name.
Yes.
And so as a great way to do that transition, I am meshing it with my cosplay, and I will be doing real life streams as I make my cosplays.
Oh,
So I'll
that's
keep the
cool.
gaming to the VTuber model and then the IRL while I'm being creative.
All right. Let's talk about those cosplays because I am. Well, when I was younger, I would never have done it because I never had any confidence in myself to do something like that, and certainly not the skill to put it together. I actually got an F in art in school, which is pretty tough to do considering I did the project, but it was still getting an F. That's how bad my art.
You put the effort in, it's all that matters.
Yeah, I put the double F's in effort. That's what I did. Um, the 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 amount of time and skill and uh, boy, what's the right word? Inventiveness that you have to do in putting together a good cosplay is pretty amazing.
Hmm.
And so when you decided to do this as a younger age, did you think about that before you did it, or did you just jump into it?
So I'm a very impulsive person.
Uh huh.
It comes with the territory of, having having a brain that goes like 1,000 miles per hour.
Hmm.
Um, so when I was around 14, 15, I saw that there was an anime convention going on in my town. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love anime. This looks super cool. Went to my mom and I said, Mom, please, 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 can I dress up for this convention? And she was hesitant about it at first because she didn't really understand it. But because she loved her dear old daughter,
Yes.
she, forked out the money for this $40 cheap cosplay
Mm.
and this like $10 wig. And I was so excited when it got in the mail and I got to try it on because, well, when I look back on it, it wasn't the best cosplay in the world. It was
Wow.
still my first cosplay and it
Right.
was still something that meant a lot to me.
Oh yeah.
So I went to this anime convention and I got pictures taken of me
Whoa.
and I was like, wow, I love attention. Like, but yeah, so even in my like $50 cheap cosplay and like rough makeup because all teenagers do their makeup
Oh
in a
yeah.
very terrible manner.
Yeah.
Um, it was still so much fun, and that like developed into a little bit of an addiction for me.
Mm.
So
And
I ended up,
you ended up working more and more into it.
yeah. So I ended up really enjoying um the body paint cosplays, like painting myself different colors because it was just
Oh.
it was just really cool to me to like be purple or blue, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That
And
that'd be good for a 14-year-old. Hope you didn't have to go to school right afterwards.
exactly, I would always go on the weekends,
Yeah,
so
there
I
you
did
go.
not have school afterwards.
There you go.
But as I said, when I was about 18 years old, actually, no. Like, it was when COVID started happening. I started noticing that my mental health was taking a decline because I was really, really, really focusing on metrics
Mm.
and numbers and how many likes my photos would get. And I would find myself comparing my cosplays to my friends who I shouldn't have been comparing myself to.
Right.
And so once COVID started and, everybody just kind of shut down for a while, I was like, hey, like this is a great time to maybe take a step back from cosplay and reevaluate why I started cosplaying to begin with. Because it started out as, oh my gosh, I love dressing up as this character. It then evolved into how many likes can this post get? And
Ah.
I did not like what that mentality shifted into.
Yeah. It does. It turns it from something you enjoy into a chore.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
was burnt out and I was, the person I was back then was just teeming with jealousy.
Mm.
And that's not the person I pride myself in being.
Yeah. Yeah. But you were able to figure it out though. I mean, you didn't stew in it too long. You worked your way out of it, didn't you?
Yeah, and unfortunately it took completely separating myself from the cosplay community, but I think that was the best choice for me
Mm.
because now I can look at like a famous cosplayer or my friends who have gradually gotten more quote unquote famous
Mm.
and be like, good for you. I'm really proud of you. I'm not at that point, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're enjoying yourself with it.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing. And I people don't have to be the best at everything. As long as you're enjoying yourself and although I do like your admission, I like the attention. That's a great admission to
One,
make.
yeah, I'm a very blunt person. You will probably never hear me sugarcoat anything. I did enjoy the attention of getting photos taken of me because it
Yeah,
made me feel pretty.
yeah, and and cosplaying is it's hard to explain for somebody who's not into it or hasn't watched it, but there is a lot involved into putting together a good cosplay. You've got to figure out how to make certain items um,
Hmm.
out of a tin can and a piece of wood. I mean
Yeah.
it's like the old MacGyver TV show. How can I make this into something that works? It's a lot of ingenious people do this. A lot of people with a lot of creativity. Obviously, you're one of those people who have that sort of thing because of not only what you've done with cosplay, but what you've done online as well. Um, and it's great that you have those outlets for that because, frankly, where would you be 20 years ago?
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, still a toddler, but
Yeah, but I mean, 20 years ago, if these types of outlets weren't available, um,
Oh, yes,
You,
yes. Okay, I was like, well, I would
yeah.
be a toddler, but
Gee, thanks for reminding me how old I am. Thank you very much. But the no the fact is that this technology wasn't there, and you wouldn't be able to, and a lot of folks wouldn't be able to express themselves through VTubing and getting out to an audience of potentially the entire planet, um, and being able to express themselves that way. It might have been pretty tough for you to express yourself in any form at that point.
yeah, I mean, I feel like the times have definitely changed a lot. There was a huge stigma. I mean, oh my gosh, even just looking back on it in like 2009, like 2010, 2011, it was very, what's the word? Cringe
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy anime or, enjoy manga
Mm-hmm.
or comics or stuff like that. And, that was something you would keep under wraps because
Oh yeah.
people would make fun of you for it. I know in middle school, I wore an anime shirt to class once and everybody was like, ew, what is that? So, and then now it's become mainstream.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's cosplay's become mainstream, VTubing's become mainstream, anime's become mainstream. So it definitely is a lot easier now to
Yeah.
really express those hobbies and enjoyments without much shame.
Now, with all this going on, where do you see your channel going? Have you got a big goal in mind?
I mean, I think being as blunt as I possibly can, just like every VTuber or every person starting to stream, I would love to do it full time, but of course, you got to set realistic expectations too.
Mm.
Um, Big goals, I would just like to hit 500 followers one day. I would be pretty content with that.
Hmm.
But, ultimate goal is to do it full time, hit partner. But again, you got to be realistic and then you got to have your hopefuls.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dreams don't have to be realistic. Goals probably should be. uh,
Exactly.
and
So, realistic goal, just 500.
yeah. Well, I think that it's very possible. I think that you've got a great attitude doing this, and obviously some folks who want to keep following you and keep coming back to watch your streams. How often do you stream in a week?
I really need to get a schedule down pat. I know for a fact that I stream Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Those are my set days.
Hmm.
As of recently, because I have found myself enjoying streaming more than just like a small hobby, it's become a huge part of my life. I've been doing more impromptu streams, like this week specifically. I was like, oh, I'm gonna stream Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Eee. Oh, don't set yourself on fire while this is going on, okay? Take a little time for
Yeah,
yourself.
I only do impromptu streams if I'm having a really good week.
Mm.
I don't really enjoy getting on Twitch or, making posts when I'm in a terrible mindset because, that'll just set off a chain of events. Because, like I said, the people who want to make mean comments can sense it. I swear
Oh yeah.
they have like a sense of smell for it.
Hmm. They smell the blood in the water, and where there's one, someone will want to join in and top them, and
Mm-hmm.
and it goes and it goes and it goes. But while you can't underestimate some people, you can't overestimate them either. And I think that you've got a really good mindset and a good talent, and you've got a good long ways to go. And I hope that you continue to grow and that you enjoy what you're doing, because it sounds like it's become a huge part of what you're all about.
Yeah, it really has. And I think growing up and resetting that mindset that it's not all about numbers really helps
Yeah.
because the quickest way to get burnt out on something is if you're stressing too much over popularity. It's not a popularity contest. Well, to some extent it is if you wanted to do it full time.
Hmm.
But, when you're starting out small and you're just growing and you're learning and just getting to know your community. It's not a popularity contest. I would much rather follow a VTuber or just a streamer in general that takes time to, get to know their audience and appreciate it than go to someone who has become numb to that and doesn't really appreciate what they have in front of them.
Well put. Well put. And folks. So we're going to have the links that you can follow Ellwynbrook on the particular description for this interview. Please come back on when you got something big coming up, and we'll update everybody.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on. I know your schedule is all over the place, and especially with everything that's going on right now, and so much stuff going on in your life, and thanks for taking some time out to talk with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And you know what? I'll probably take voice acting a little bit more into consideration now.
There you go. Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.